Hi, my name is Eder Casillas, and in this video, I'll be discussing Proposition 187 and how it reveals patterns of the way immigrants, specifically Latinx immigrants, became the scapegoat for issues, in this case, the economic situation happening in California in the 90s. In the early 1990s, California was facing an economic recession, as approximately 520,000 jobs were lost from the beginning of July 1990 to October 1993. At the same time, the immigration population in California continued to skyrocket with an increase of 2.4 million immigrants. The rise of immigration, specifically Mexican/Hispanic immigration, created the perfect opportunity to scapegoat these issues of economics. Proposition 187, also known as the SOS Save Our State initiative, was introduced to the state legislature and placed on the ballot for the California general election on November 8, 1994. Proposition 187 sought to prohibit undocumented immigrants' access to social and public services such as unemployment benefits, healthcare, public education, etc. The law passed with a vote of 59% to 41%. While all this was happening, in 1994, Pete Wilson, governor of California, was running for re-election against Democratic opponent Kathleen Brown. What ended up happening is that immigration became the deciding issue on who would win this race. To get ahead in the election, Wilson exploited anti-immigration ideas. Wilson's campaign endorsed and spewed out the sentiment that undocumented immigrants were the reason for California's economic hardship. In one of the ads in Wilson's campaign, the narrator states, "They keep coming. 2 million illegals in California. The federal government won't stop them at the border, yet requires us to pay billions to take care of them." This use of the term illegals paints undocumented immigrants as non-human. These laws and politicians like Pete Wilson and Prop 187 failed to recognize that immigrants are human too, and at the very least deserve respect and decency. While Prop 187 dehumanized immigrants, after its passing, the consequences of this law affected real individuals. For the family of Julio Cano, Prop 187 forever changed their lives. Julio Cano was 12 years old when he devastatingly passed away. While Cano had been facing a sickness since November 4th, 1994, his parents said that they were afraid to take him to a hospital because they had been denied non-emergency care before and thought that with the passage of Prop 187, their legal status would be questioned. The passing of Cano was politicized and used by both proponents and opponents of this law. Some proponents said that the responsibility for the boy's death lies with the parents for bringing him in the country illegally in the first place. At its very core, these laws like Prop 187 show the way undocumented immigrants are seen as merely statistics and numbers, not as real people. It is as if dehumanizing undocumented immigrants to be all seen as these violent criminals helps politicians, lawmakers, etc. skip the realization that what they're doing is unethical and inhumane. Though Prop 187 was struck down and deemed unconstitutional in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California, its passage reveals a continuity of nativist and racist ideas persisting in immigration policy and reform. However, Prop 187 did help unite Latinx communities through protest. On October 16, 1994, in opposition to Proposition 187, 70,000 protesters marched through the streets of downtown Los Angeles. Filled with students, undocumented families, and workers waving Mexican flags, these protests ended up becoming a catalyst for a new generation of youth activists. These are the sources I use for my project. I highly recommend further going into these sources to look more about the detail of Prop 187. Thank you.